Hi, I'm Arthur and I am back again with a new tutorial video. And today I'm going to show you how I paint this countryside scene in the early morning with the first glow of the sun shining on this tree. So I'd say let's get right into it. So for this early morning sky, we want to have a nice gradient. And to achieve that, I'm first pre-wetting the paper with this Hake brush. And now with a small flat brush, I take some Naples yellow, which I will be using for the warmth in the sky. And then taking it up higher into the sky, but leaving the top part of the paper white. And now picking up some blue pigments. And for this sort of early winter morning feeling, I use some of the colder cobalt turquoise and cobalt blue. And then putting it in on the top of the sky with a mop brush, working my way downwards into the Naples yellow. And I find this little flat brush very handy to mix and blend pigments together on the paper to avoid getting streaks and all that. And now in the other palette space, I'm taking some warmer pigment and now it's time to put in the colors of the horizon. I'm sorry if my head is in the way a little. And now I'm mixing some more of the warmer pigments, a bit of orange and yellow for the first layer of the grass. I'm trying to paint a little bit around the tree. Taking some stronger pigment towards the bottom, but still keeping it very, very light. Next will be covered in a succeeding wash. And while this first wash is still quite damp, I'm exploiting that to put in some more of the details around the horizon. We've got these distant rows of trees and a bluish mixture of some lavender and cobalt blue will do nicely for these distant trees. Still spreading out a lot because of all the water. Taking some more of that lavender, because you need really thick pigment if you don't want it all to just fade away. And it also creates a little bit of extra texture if you use different densities of pigment. And then with the hair blower, I'm blowing it all dry. It fixes all the pigment nicely in its place. And you don't have to wait as long for all of this water to dry. Just testing the paper a bit to see if it's already dry enough. And now I'm going to focus on the next part, which is the base wash for the tree. So I'm taking some quinacridone burnt orange and I'm going to mix that with cadmium orange and some Indian yellow to create a nice warm mixture. And this will be the sort of baseline for this warm early morning glow when the sun's first light shines on the trees, and it always has this sort of reddish glow early in the morning, and then it changes quickly from red to yellow, and finally as the sun keeps climbing to a more whitish light. So with the same mixture and the same brush, I'm already putting in some of these branches. You have to make sure that the underlying layer is completely dry. If it's a little bit moist, you have the danger that you're creating blooms and that you ruin that first wash. Now, at this stage, you might still get away with that, but better safe than sorry. And now also with a rigger brush, I'm drawing in these finer branches. This will all shine through later on in the process to create that sense of glow that we want. And now that the tree is fully dried, I'm preparing a darker mixture, a very thick dark mixture for the top of the shed. And then with a very weak watery mixture, I placed it right under there. And now a sort of dark blue-green mixture for the side of the shed. I'm a little bit careful with the shape here to get it right, leaving a little room next to that watery wash. Don't want it to blend too much. And then I'm extending that darker line to the right, and you can immediately see it start blending in with the wash above. Now for the bottom of the roof, that is not undesirable. I'm sparing out some space for where the windows will be. And as I'm concentrated on this detail work, I tend to have my head closer to the paper. Some better wash underneath. Now with the flat brush I've pre-wetted the horizon a little bit, and with some of that cobalt lavender mixture I'm now going to put in some more of those distant trees. And I'm using this funny Chinese brush for it. It says these sort of coarse hairs just make it nice for the texture of trees and bushes. And the blue mixture, it's going to blend with this more orangey mixture, and you will get this transition from Naples yellow to this orange to this sort of lavender blue. And now some more horizontal marks to create the texture of the grass in the foreground, to suggest all these shadows from trees spreading out over the early morning field. Again, using this sort of Chinese brush. And now here on the right side as well. And again, I'm painting around the tree. And now I'm taking some orange and mixing that with all sorts of blues. Also a bit of cerulean in there. And creating this darker shadow. And I'm letting that blend in with the lighter wash. And continuing down towards the bottom. You have to make sure that it doesn't dry on you, because you have to continue that wash downwards. So now with an even darker mixture, I'm going to start what you might call the third wash. So I'm carefully building it up in layers. Again, some of those cast shadows are spread out over the field. And some nice bigger strokes. Continuing that shadow shape down. I'm still painting around the tree. Making the mixture still darker. I'd say this mixture is getting pretty dark by now. So there's not too much paint that we should add to that ideally. And in between the shadows I'm trying to leave some little bits of highlights. Those are very important. You need to break those large shadow shapes up a little bit. And while it's still wet, I'm adding a bit of extra texture in there with a thick mixture. And then I dip my hand into the water and then I'm sprinkling a little bit of water in there to create some more texture effects, to make it look more like grass. A little bit of detail on the horizon. And I'm blending the grass a bit with the foot of the tree. A little bit of water sprinkling. And before we go to the tree, I want to finish up that shed a little more with some details. So first starting on the roof, and with a different Chinese brush, a sort of rigger, I'm placing in these vertical stripes to create a sort of corrugated roof. I have a little bit of dark painting in the windows and some of the other details in the woodwork. A little test for the tree. So I've created this large mixture on my palette, making sure I've got some different hues in there to get some variation in my mixture. And the idea is to let all this blend together in the tree, these darker and lighter washes, using that orange wash we made as a base. Some nice and dark pigment for the branches, and then using a lighter orangey mixture to blend it a bit to create these transitions. And just painting in all of these branches one by one, varying the mixture from light to dark, you have to make sure that it's still a bit wet so you can continue working it. If you want to have more time to work in it, it helps if you lay the paper flat. And while the mixture's still wet, you can use a rigger brush to just move around the water on the paper. You can just instead of only using what is on your palette, you can use the puddle of pigment that is on your paper and just drag that in different directions. But you really have to use enough water if you want to do that. And now with the side of my brush, I'm adding in a bit of dry brush texture. And some more of these smaller branches that reach downward towards the field. And we just keep on continuing this process to whatever requires your attention. You always have to find the exact right balance between not too much branches but also not too few, that it will look like it has been trimmed or something. And it's also good to just alternate painting in some branches lighter, which catch the sunlight, and others which are in shadow, to create this nice dynamic. And you can see by this stage it really is looking finished right now. And so the tree is now finished as well. So now it will come down to the final details. And it's not there in the reference photo, but I would like to put in a few little sheep, because adding some animals into the scene always gives a lot more life to the painting. So first, with sort of lavender mixture, I'm painting in the bodies of the sheep, and then I will add some detail to that. And now I'm drawing in the fence with a dark mixture, trying to paint these strokes in one single go. First horizontal lines and now the vertical poles. You don't have to follow the reference photo exactly, because in the photo the fence continues all the way from left to right, but I'm deciding to make a gap in the fence. And below these fences there's also this darker shadow, which I want to put in there as well to connect the fences and the tree more to the ground. I have to be careful not to lay it on too thickly or put too much of that on top, because there's already about 3 layers of watercolor underneath. Because this mix is thick, I could just smudge it a bit with my finger to avoid too large build-ups of pigments as well. And a few extra strokes for some more texture in the foreground. And then some tiny fences in the background as well. Don't draw them in too neatly. A few more of those cast shadows over the grass. And now to get a little more of that light back, I'm wetting the shadow layer with a synthetic brush and then lifting some of that paint off with a tissue. And you can see the light returning a little more. And then with a synthetic rigger brush and some gouache, I'm adding some highlights in the distance where the fences catch the light of the sun. And also a few extra details for those sheep. And also a little bit of gouache on the shed. And then with a rigger brush I suggest some sort of small tree. And this little line over here on the roof. And that is basically it. So all that's left to do now is to add my signature in the bottom right of the painting. So all in all, I am quite happy with this painting. I think I did manage to capture this nice reddish glow on the tree, which is not too easy, but with a little bit of patient planning it is certainly doable. So there we go. My personal logo is now finished. So here again is the final painting. It turned out pretty nice. I'm happy with the glow, and also these subtle, soft trees in the background. They blend in nicely. The foreground could have been a little bit fresher and lighter perhaps, but I did want to establish a nice contrast between background and foreground. And you also see the same light-dark contrast in the tree itself. So where the ground gets darker and darker, the tree itself actually catches more of the sun's light. And where the background gets lighter towards the sky, the tree itself catches some shadows, which I think works out pretty well. So I hope you've learned a thing or two from this video, and you could try some of this blending of light and dark yourself to create a nice glow. And if you'd like to see more of these videos, you can like this video, let me know how you like this painting, and you can subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and then I'll see you the next time. Bye bye.